Hey everyone, welcome back. This is episode 2 in my new series about my weight loss journey and everything like that. And if you didn't happen to catch episode 1, you can go back and check it out. It'll be linked in the description down below. Um, and if you didn't already, hit that thumbs up and that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. It spreads the word. It gets the videos out to whoever wants to see them or um, needs to see them. So if you don't mind, hit those for me. Um, so I guess you're wondering why I'm wearing this lanyard. Maybe you're not. I just had surgery. Today is Monday. I just had it on Friday, so I'm only a couple days removed from that. It went great. They removed my excess skin on my chest. Um, and that video will be coming soon. I recorded all of that for everybody. Um, but this episode is going to be different from like I said before. It to understand how I got to the point where they're cutting my chest off and sewing me back together like Frankenstein. We kind of have to understand where I came from, and that's a rough one because it's a long, long story. So I hope you're ready. Um, Grab a snack and a drink because it's a doozy, and we're going to explore just exactly what happened and then bring it full circle to now and today and the surgeries that I'm having now. So stay tuned. Here we go. So even from a pretty young age, I was a pretty big kid. Um, and I know a lot of people say that I was big my whole life, but it's kind of true. I mean, of course, when I was a baby and I was born, I was baby sized. Uh, but um, I was always kind of like chunky cheeks, and it kind of runs in the family. We're not small people, so it's not unusual, for some of us to be a little chunkier when we're born and kind of even out, and sometimes we don't. But uh, back in back when I was little, yeah, I was always kind of bigger. I never really knew. No one ever really said anything or anything like that to me. But if you go back and look at the pictures, I was kind of a little chunky kid. I was a cute kid, but chunky nonetheless. So as we continued on, though, I started hitting elementary school, and I was kind of bigger than everybody else, and I started to kind of notice that a lot of my friends, a lot of my classmates were way smaller than me for my age. And like I said, it kind of runs in my family. We're kind of taller, stockier, bigger people. And I never thought it was weird. I just thought it was who I was. It's my genes. And my dad was a big guy. My brother's a big guy. Um, and I was just becoming who I was meant to be. I mean, even now, with all this weight loss, I'm still a pretty big guy. I'm not a small guy by any means. So, um, but I definitely knew there was a change. I definitely knew that there was something different. Um, and when the school puts on a school rehearsed choreographed dance and they put you by shortest to tallest and you are at the very end of the line because you are the tallest and biggest kid in the entire school, you start to notice things like that. So um, I was big. I mean, compared to everyone else and all these pictures and everything, um, yeah. But it never really affected me. It never really slowed me down. I mean, it definitely made me not want to do um, more physical activity because it was strenuous on my body even then. But I did sports. I did street hockey. Back then, we weren't allowed to have skates because it was school. So if you broke your head, then we'd have a problem. So it was just running. But I mean, I was pretty good at it, and I never really just sat around and did nothing. I was always a pretty active kid. I was always out playing with my friends and stuff like that. And I think that's what staved off that beast for a long time. That uh, from it getting too out of control. But while I was doing that, I was also going to different doctors and trying to figure out why exactly I was getting bigger and not smaller. Because when I was younger, elementary school, middle school, it's not like my mother or my father were buying junk food and soda and stuff. They're actually buying pretty good stuff for us to eat and drink, and uh, we really didn't have that kind of stuff. We'd have a treat every now and then. We'd have some cake and ice cream on birthdays, but most of the time, it was really healthy stuff. And no matter what, I would just keep getting bigger. So I would go to doctors, and um, I was told I had insulin resistance, and so I was on medicine for a long time that made me sick. It gave me some bathroom issues, and I just didn't like it, and it was constant. So I just would stop taking it. They'd tell me that eventually you'd become immune to it, and I just couldn't. I was too young for that. I didn't have the patience to be like, well, if I'm at school and I'm taking this medicine or something, I might have an accident or something, and I didn't want to hear it. So I didn't take it, and I moved on with my life. Well, then middle school rolled around, and that's when you really start to notice that you're different, because a lot of people start talking a little bit more. Luckily, since kindergarten all the way to um, pretty much the end of high school, a lot of the same kids I went to school with knew me the entire time. So switching from fifth grade to middle school, which was sixth grade, wasn't that bad. I knew everybody. I mean, I was a pretty popular kid. I mean, one of my birthdays, I invited my entire class, and I think everybody came. So it's not like I was like a leper or something, and nobody wanted to be my friend. I had tons of friends, um, but I did start to notice, and those kids that I didn't know and didn't know me did start to make fun of me, started to bully me a little bit. And nobody seriously ever bullied me because, again, in elementary school, I was the biggest kid in the entire school. So who's gonna want to fight me? Not a lot of people, that's for sure. Um, except for one person in middle school. He used to live down the street. Me and him were good friends. And one day at school, he just said, "When we get off the bus, we're gonna fight." And I said, "Why?" He said, "I don't know." And we did. I mean, after school, we got off the bus and we fought. And it wasn't a knockdown, drag out. I mean, I didn't want to fight him, so I was trying to defend myself, and he was trying to fight me. But I think somebody at school got into his head that, man, you pick a fight with him, he's the biggest kid, he'll be the baddest kid. And I wasn't like that. I don't fight. I don't get mad. I was a pretty peaceful dude. So I never understood that. And after that fight, the next day at school, we were just friends again. But being the biggest kid puts a target on you automatically. Whether you are the biggest kid or you are the smallest kid, if you're not in between, someone is coming after you. Someone is picking a fight with you, and it's sad, because bullying shouldn't be tolerated by anyone. Um, and then I got thrown to the wolves, and by wolves, I mean high school. So high school rolls around, and now I'm a freshman, and a lot of the people I knew are also freshmen. So, I mean, as you know, if you're a freshman, you're bottom of the pecking order, you're bottom of the totem pole, and now I'm with kids who are, I haven't quite probably hit 6 feet yet, 5 something, and I'm in school now with 7 foot tall, big, strong dudes who are seniors who are about to leave. And again, I'm getting bullied and picked on. I'm getting uh, things yelled at me from students. I used to have these two kids who would always talk down to me and push me and stuff on my way to my different classes because I was big. They'd make fun of me and stuff like that. And I know what you're saying. Like someone like you, like how you gonna get bullied? You seem to be a pretty nice guy. Yeah, I was. I never really stirred the pot with anybody. But again, when you're big, people have a problem. People wanna make you feel like less for some reason. And those two kids that were pushing me and bullying me and trying to spit on me every day, I would stand up to them. The seniors not so much. I was too afraid to get my ass kicked or something like that. But I was bullied, and I think that's why I have such a strong dislike for anyone who bullies anyone else because I was there and I've seen it. I've I can't stand when somebody stronger or tougher or even smarter belittles somebody for not being that. I mean, it's not okay. It's not fair, and it's not deserved. Um, and bullying just creates more problems. So high school is rolling through, um, and it gets a little better the further I get. Once those seniors kind of faded out, and those two dudes, I don't even remember their name. I remember one kid had red hair. He's irrelevant. I don't know. I don't know whatever happened to them, but I hope they're good and they kind of learn from that. Um, but as those older kids kind of started to get faded out, we started to come up and become the seniors, and I kind of started to take on that bigger kid role once again. But I wasn't alone. Of course, there were other uh, big kids like me because the amount of children in this high school now has grown compared to how small my elementary school and my middle school actually were. Um, and I had a few girlfriends. I had many friends. I went to prom. It's not like I missed out on a lot because when I became an upperclassman, it's when high school really kind of took off, and me and my friends kind of found our gel, and we kind of, I don't know, approached it a different way. So I was actually doing pretty good then. I was still a big kid. Every day I wore jeans, boots, black hoodie, and a hat, um, just because I didn't want people to see what my real body looked like. With my jeans, I could cover my stomach. With my hoodie, my really big baggy hoodie, I could cover my chest. So it was all about hiding back then. And it's unfortunate because I had to live 4 years like that practically throughout my high school. Um, and I actually have a few pretty messed up stories from high school. So let me go ahead and dig into those because again, it's what shaped me. What makes me understand. Um, I think it's what makes me understand and empathize with people who aren't just overweight, but who also have other types of problems. Because I've been in those embarrassing situations before, and I've been there, and I know how much it sucks and how much it actually hurts. Um, so let me regale you with some tales from my high school. So one of the stories is it was getting close to graduation, senior year, and they would always have some guest speaker come in and tell you about your future and how the future's yours and go out and get it and blah blah blah. And they assemble all of the seniors in the gym. They give you chairs down the center, rows of all the seniors. And then the other classmen were up in the bleachers. The teachers were behind us. The stage was in front. And the speaker was speaking on the stage in the gym. Me and my friend Jeff. I don't really know. I think my other friend Justin. I think he was maybe at a school we have here called EVIT. I don't know if you have it there, but it's kind of like where you leave the campus to go to a different school to learn a specific skill, like cooking or mechanics or something like that. Something that they didn't have at the high school at the time. Um, but I don't know where he was that day. But me and my friend Jeff were sitting next to each other, and I could feel my chair, and I was a big dude. I was probably pushing 300, 400 at that time, and I could feel it. I could just feel it. It was sinking underneath me. It felt like have you ever been in a lawn chair and sat on like grass, and you slowly start to like sink into the grass? Well, I could feel the chair slowly doing that underneath me. So you hear this loud bang. The whole school stops and is looking around. Nobody really knows what that was. Loud noise, whatever. Goes back to talking. I am now sitting on the ground, chair underneath me, with the teachers behind me laughing. That was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life up to that point, and um, I couldn't believe it. And man, I kind of wish I was still friends with Jeff, because, like a true friend, that son of a bitch pushes his chair back and sits on the ground with me, right next to me. And we are both sitting on the ground in front of the entire school together. So, Jeff, if you're out there somewhere in the world, thank you, man. Don't think I ever thanked you for that. But I really do appreciate that. You were a hell of a friend, man. Um, so, after that, after the assembly and everyone's getting up and leaving and whatever, me and him stand up like nothing happened. I don't really know if anyone else really knew. They heard the sound, and we were in a sea of people. So unless you were in the back or at the top of the bleachers, I'm not sure anybody even really saw what was happening, and then they just saw us sitting on the ground. Maybe they thought we were like protesting or just being weird, because there were always those weird kids that wore like pajamas to school every day and shit. Like weirdos. No offense if you're one of those, but it's kind of weird. Like get dressed in the morning. It's not hard. Um, but it. I'm not sure if anyone ever really knew. The teachers did, and a few of them afterwards came up to actually like help me and ask if I was okay, which was nice of them as well. But I decided to stand up and look at my chair. The bottom is all rusted. Of course, it broke because I'm 400 pounds sitting on a rusted chair, but it wasn't playing me any favors as well. So I took that bitch. I had it under my arm. It was like the last day of school. One of the security guards stopped me and said, "Hey, where are you going with that chair?" I said, "I'm going home with it. This is my chair now." And he said, You can't take that." And I said, "What are you going to do with it? It's broken. It's the last day of school." And I just crashed through it in front of everybody. He looked at me and just kept driving. He was in his little golf cart. He drove away. He didn't say a word. And I walked home with my chair. Oh, to the car with my chair. So stuff like that would happen. And I think that really helped me early on kind of develop a thicker skin for stuff like that, not be so embarrassed when stuff like that happens to you, because I was a big guy, and unless I was nimble like a cat, that stuff would happen all the time. I'd trip on stuff, I'd break chairs, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a memory that I'll never forget. Wild. So here we are at the end of high school. I'm still a bigger kid. I'm 400 pounds, going out into the world, into the workforce, into life to make my own, right? So I get a job at Apple, and I'm customer service for a long time, and everything was really good. Um, then I lost that job. I was seasonal, so they let me go, and um, and then my life changed for the better for a long time. Um, my older sister got married. Um, and I say that because I have two sisters who are both older than me, but one is younger, one is older. So my older sister got married, and I went to her wedding, and one of her friends and I got friendly, and we started to date. And yeah, around um, 2009 ish, we got together, along with this little boy back here, who I no longer is a little boy, but I love him very much. He's up on the wall. Um, and, we became a family, but uh, again, just like when I was younger, it's not like I stopped moving. It's not like I was eating crazy bad stuff, but I was still getting bigger. I mean, I would take him to the park, I would take him to swimming class, I would take him to school. We would come here, where I currently am, to my parents' house, um, to do dishes and to hang out with my dad, because back then, the house I was living in, we didn't have a dishwasher, and I wasn't going to do them all by hand all the time. That's madness. So we'd come here and use it and visit my dad. Um, so it's not like I was ever stationary. It's not like I ever sat still. And it's not like I was eating a dozen donuts a day or something like that. And I still was getting bigger and bigger. And somewhere along the way, a man contacted me about going to a CrossFit gym. And this is after we had tried together, because we were bigger people together, me and his mother. So we would try keto. We tried protein diets, keto diets, um, all of them that were big back then. But keto had the same effect on me that the drugs did when I was younger. They would give me massive stomach problems. I don't think my body can handle pure fat like that. It just ejects it out the back as fast as it goes in. So it's not for me. And we would try salads every week. We would try so many different things, that we were contacted about this CrossFit gym, and I was told that when I go, it will be kind of like a Biggest Loser type of situation, where I would get the personalized lessons, I would get all the help I could ask for, as long as it could be documented, and I was like the spokesperson, like this guy lost all this weight at my gym, so on and so forth, like that. Not getting paid for it or anything, but it would have been like a success story for him and his gym, and I was happy to do that, because if I could go to this CrossFit gym for free and fix myself, and she could fix herself, and we could be happy and healthy for our kid, why wouldn't we, right? So I would show up, and he would be there, and for the first couple weeks, yeah, it was great. He was there, he was telling me how to do all the stuff. I was doing battle ropes like a sumbitch, walking around that building, doing up downs the best I could, and again, at this point, I'm probably pushing 400, high 400s, low 500 pounds, and I would show up every day. And I would really work my ass off at that CrossFit gym, and so would she. She'd go off with the rest of the group, because she could do the things that they were doing. I couldn't. I had to use a box. I had to sit on the box I doing the battle ropes on the box. I could only walk around the building so many times before I just felt like I was gonna die. Um, and I think it kind of got the ball rolling there for a second, and I think it was really helping me. And then he stopped kind of showing up. So after a while, I was just showing up at the gym, asking, like, is he going to be here today? And no one could ever give me a straight answer. Some people would say, yeah, he'll be here. And then he'd never show up. Some people would be like, no, he's not coming today. So more times than not, I was just kind of stuck there, just doing whatever I felt like doing. I mean, if I wanted to pick up a medicine ball and throw it against the wall, I could. If I wanted to do battle ropes, I could. I had free reign to do whatever I wanted, but I didn't know what to do. So a lot of the times, I probably wasn't helping myself the best that I could. And every time I would ask somebody else, a different instructor, they would tell me, like, we don't know what he had planned for you. You're kind of a special case. We'll text him and see what he says. And then he would reply with, have him do battle ropes today. Okay, well, I've done that the last, I don't know, 2 weeks in a row, so I'm not getting anywhere, and I was getting frustrated. And so was my then girlfriend, and eventually we started going less and less until we just stopped because it wasn't really helping any of us anymore, either of us anymore, and it was becoming more of a hassle to get him somewhere to go or bring him with us. He'd be bored, and it just didn't fit anymore. And I don't know, it just fizzled out and went away. So as the years go on, I kind of um I don't know. I kind of keep at it. I'm still taking him to parks, trying to play basketball with him and stuff, but my knees are getting worse, my hips are getting worse. I can't get around as easy anymore. And then I find out that my father has lung cancer. Now, before we get too far into that and how that really probably was the cause of what happened to me more than I ever admitted, um, we have to explain who he was a little bit. He was like a living legend. I would say he was like Paul Bunyan or John Henry or Pecos Bill or an American folk hero. He had these stories that he would tell you of these crazy adventures. I call them adventures. It makes him sound like a little kid, but these crazy things he would tell me that him and his friends would do, that him and that he would just do when he was younger. And we used to hate going to the stores with my mom and dad because everybody knew them. It would take hours to get out of the stores because everyone had to come talk to my mom and dad. Everybody. Oh, Mrs. Kingman, Mr. Kingman, how are you? How are you? And we would just be sitting there losing our minds because it took forever. But now that I'm older, I see that that was a good thing because people knew my parents. People respected them. They were respected by a lot of people. And my dad in particular, when you walked into a Big O Tire, they all say, "Oh, hey, Bob." And he carried himself with a confidence that I can only dream to have, that we could all only dream to have. He was charismatic. Yeah, I don't know. He was inspiring. He was a lot of people's guiding light. He was a lot of people's moral compass. He was a lot of people's therapist. He was a lot of people's teacher and instructor. He was a lot of people's sages, and he was my father. And I didn't get to know him as long as I would have liked to. And I wish he was here to see me right now, and I wish he could see what I did with it, you know? Because he was always my biggest cheerleader for losing weight. He was always trying. He was always telling me um, different strategies to lose weight, and always pushing me to go see doctors and things like that to get it fixed, because he was not the healthiest guy. He's actually up there on the wall. Um, he wasn't the healthiest guy either. I mean, he got lung cancer because most likely because he was smoking. He loved Pepsi. He loved his cupcakes. He loved stuff like that, and um, he's where we got our junk food supply, because sometimes after school we'd go get an ice cream or something. He was a fantastic dad, but he wasn't exactly the healthiest guy on the planet. And for him to not want me to become like that and to push me like that, I didn't know it at the time, but now I'm thankful. And I did the same for that little boy. I don't ever want him to become like I was. I don't ever want him to stop moving or stop trying. I don't ever want him to give up. And my dad meant a lot to a lot of people. And I remember the night that he died. We were here in this house, and he was in his bed, and there were people here. I don't exactly remember everyone who was here. It was kind of a blur. I remember me. I remember my ex. I remember my friend, my mom, my sisters, all that. And I used to just go sit in his room with him and talk to him. I would bring him a coffee, and we would talk for hours. So I was just sitting in there with him, sitting in this wheelchair, because at that time he needed a wheelchair, and he hadn't spoken in, I don't know, a long time, a day or so or whatever, because we kind of knew it was getting down to the end. And I'll never forget it. I sat there with him at the end of the bed, and I couldn't look at him, but I was holding his foot, and I was just talking to him like normal. And I said to him, "Dad, I love you. You have done everything for this family. You have broken yourself for this family. You can go now. You can rest. You can be at peace. You can go find your mom, and you can go be with God, and you can go be in a band with Elvis and Jimmy and um, Janice and all those people you loved. You can go now. I will do my best to take care of the family when you're gone. I will do my best to make you proud, and I will keep us together no matter what." Man, I fucked that up. So a few hours after that, he passed, and that was the last thing um, that wasn't prayer or just talking to him that I said to my dad, where he could actually physically hear me with his ears. Um, he passed, and they took him, and that was it. And I truly now believe that that was kind of the downfall for all of us for a long time. it sent shockwaves through this family for a long, long time. And I think the instance that really led to my self destruction, my literal self destruction, was when he died, and I feel like I let him down. And I'll get to that. So, we would always have these family gatherings back in the day. I mean, we still do now, of course. Thanksgiving's in a week or two. Sorry, I had to adjust the camera. It got a little weird. Um, Thanksgiving is like next week. We're all getting together. It's going to be great. But back then, after my father died, I don't know what happened. We all kind of separated. We all kind of went and did our own thing. And I don't know, we all kind of focused on our own families, and we'd get together for holidays and things like that, birthdays sometimes. But other than that, we didn't ever really see each other. And there was one night where we went over to my sister's house, me and my family, and my sister and her family, and everyone. It was a family dinner. And the kids got a little rambunctious outside, and it would always come down to this. Kid A would do something bad, Kid B would get mad, fight with Kid A, parents get involved, everyone goes home pissed off. It was pretty formulaic at that point. So we all kind of expected that going. Well, at least me and my girlfriend at the time. So the kids get a little rambunctious one night, and a rock gets thrown at a car window. Probably a simple accident. Maybe it wasn't. Nobody was out there. But it blew up to a point where it was like the police were going to arrest these kids, getting screamed at, getting yelled at, fingers getting pointed, blame getting thrown around. And me and her just said, all right, that's it. On the way home, we said, every time we show up to one of these family things, every time we go on vacation, we leave all mad at each other. We leave completely hating each other. And that's not okay. So instead of trying to fix it, I left. I mean, my body was hurting so bad that to drag myself out of the house to just get screamed at, to hear my kid get screamed at and blamed for shit, I wasn't having it anymore. I wasn't going to sit there and I was going to tolerate it anymore from anyone. So we stopped showing up. And for 4 years or so, I think it was, I didn't see my family. I didn't see any of them. And that does something to you. It really breaks something in your brain when you're away from those people that you had such a bond with for your entire life, and then all of a sudden you don't see them anymore. It kills you. And I feel like around that time, I stopped going around my family. I stopped taking care of myself as much as I was trying before. I just didn't care. No matter what I tried, I couldn't lose weight. So I was like, okay, I've tried every diet, I've tried every gym, I've tried every workout, every exercise, everything to fix this, to get smaller so I could be more comfortable, so I could live. And I didn't want to eat shitty food anymore. I didn't want to, I just wanted to live and be a human like everybody else. I wanted to be able to go get a cheeseburger and not have to worry about being 700 pounds, people staring at me in the drive-thru because I was hungry, stuff like that. Because like I said before, I didn't eat. I've always said the drinks are my kryptonite. I could drink a gallon of soda before I would ever eat like a chocolate cake. That's where my problems come from, because I drink the calories, I don't eat them. Um, but after he died, it shifted, and I did start to eat more. I mean, if if I couldn't lose weight eating salads and doing it right, the correct way, vegetables, fruits, grains, things like that, I said, fuck it. I'm going to go out with a bang, and I'm going to live the way I want to live. And I was eating a dozen donuts by myself. I was going to Burger King and getting 3 Whoppers for myself. I'm not really a sides guy, so I'm not getting like 5 fries and all that. I would get like 3 Whoppers and a large drink, and I would eat them myself. And that's a lot. Like, that's a lot. And it just continued like that after, and I got so big that I was getting to a point where I couldn't walk. I had a chair back at that house, and I lived in it. Sometimes I would sleep in it because I could not get in and out of the bed. That's how big I was. I had to buy a bidet because I could not clean myself after the bathroom. I mean, and before that, it was the shower. If I went to the bathroom, I couldn't reach. I physically could not reach parts of my body to clean myself. That's how big I got. As you can see, that is a completely different person. That is a completely different human being that you're looking at. And for me to get to that point, it was a lot of pain, you know. Um, and I gained 2 best friends. I'll show you them right now. So my 2 best friends became, because I didn't ever really see any of my friends. Uh, my 2 new best friends became this. Not exactly this one. I probably had 10 of these because I could not bend down to pick up anything. I couldn't reach. My back hurt too bad, my knees hurt too bad, and my stomach physically would not let me bend over to pick things up. So I had a bunch of these, and when I would try to pick up something too heavy, trying to clean up the house with this plastic here, it'd break. I'd get metal ones. I had every kind you could imagine. I had favorites. I do like the ones with the magnets, and it became like having another hand. I'm still really good with these. I can pick up dimes off the ground and stuff because I trained myself with this for so long that it became like a second hand. Now I just have it if I need to get something from under the bed or behind my chair over there, or I don't know, anywhere else. Or after I have surgery, it really comes in handy if I drop something or I can't bend over to get it, which is what it's intended for, not to live with and become everything. And if you need this, there's no shame. If you need one of these, there's no shame in using it. It saved my life. But use it. If you need it, use it. I'm not ragging on anyone. I'm just saying this became literally one of my best friends. Now, the sadder friend is this one. So I got to a point where, like I said, I couldn't walk anymore. I could not move. My knees were so bad, my back was so bad that I would literally walk with a hunch. Um, so then I bought this, and it's crazy. It actually has a grabber magnet stuck to it. But this is it. Of course, it's in short form because it was under my bed for, I don't know, I think it's been like 5 years now. It was way over there in the corner behind my old bed. But this was my lifeline. This black cane helped me get to the bathroom. It helped me get into the backyard. Helped me get to the kitchen. Because when I got to the point where I needed this, I didn't leave the house. Because before, I would still go to birthday parties and events, Christmas and Easter, with my ex's family. And then eventually I got so big and so painful, and I looked like this, yeah, that I was physically embarrassed to be in front of anyone. Even though my dumbass was like, I don't want them to see me, but they would come out to our house quite a bit to talk. So they knew what I looked like. They knew I used a damn cane. But somewhere in my brain, I was like, I don't want them to know and see. Mental. I know. But yeah, when I started using this, I could not walk. I did not leave the house anymore. I didn't take him to school anymore. That kind of fell onto his grandma, or his nana, sorry. And, you know, after my dad died, I think I decided that this life was too difficult. That the pain and the sadness and the anger I had towards myself for letting him down, for dropping the ball, because I know he was disappointed in me. I know he was looking down and saying, what is wrong with you? This isn't the person that I was molding before I left this earth. This isn't the person you're meant to be. I know he was saying that. I know it. And anyone out there can say that, no, he never would have. No. I made a promise, and I make it my point to never break promises. I try my damnedest. My father would always say, don't make a promise unless you can keep it. And don't make a bet unless you know you're going to win. But, don't make a promise unless you know you can keep it. And I promised him I was going to hold this family together and take care of them. I swore to him while he was dying in front of me that I was going to rise up and take care of it. And I didn't. I disappeared. And I felt so bad that I let him down. And that I couldn't keep that promise. The way I was, I could not keep it. I could barely keep myself going. How was I supposed to keep anyone else going? How was I supposed to keep anyone? How was I supposed to be a father and fill in this husbandish role if I couldn't move? Then COVID hit. We all remember COVID. So, like everybody knows, when that lovely virus hit, a lot of people had to work from home. And like a lot of people, that splintered a lot of relationships. And what we thought was a strong relationship turns out had a lot of cracks, had a lot of holes. And COVID putting us together in the same space all day, every day, I think started to grind us down, She could see how much pain I was in. She could see how difficult it was for me to actually do stuff. She could see how to cope with all of what was going on with me. I would pretty much just play video games all day. And then I get up and I make dinner or whatever. Um, but I had fully given up on myself, on life, on everything. And I used to have this thought that I have never told anyone before. Back when I was at my heaviest, which was pushing 700, which is crazy. That's so much weight. That's so much to carry. I'm just so happy to be so light now. But I used to have this thought that, man, if I just wasn't here anymore, he would probably be a hell of a lot happier without me, which he may be. But also, she would be happier without me. She wouldn't have to worry about my health anymore. She wouldn't have to worry about me just dropping dead, coming home one day and seeing me dead in my chair. She wouldn't have to be concerned anymore. She wouldn't have to go through life alone anymore. Now, what a crazy thing, from what I understand, what a crazy way to lose a relationship and everything you've ever known because you stop moving. How absurd. Not absurd in the fact that it broke us up. It had to happen. And I'll get into that. But how absurd is it on my end, to lose absolutely everything because your dumbass doesn't get up and move anymore? That sucks. Now, that's what I understand happened. I gave up. I stopped going places. I stopped doing things. I gave up. I wanted to not be here anymore. And I used to say, man, if I could just not be here anymore, she could move on and find somebody who could give her a better life. Careful what you wish for. So, this video isn't about that, though. Because I made my bed. I dug my grave. I climbed into it. It's not my fault that the dirt caved in on top of me. You know? Yeah, it's my own damn fault that everything went awry. And some pretty messed up stuff happened to me after that. And I'm sure you're familiar with this clip, but I'll play it for you now. But this is the day that I left that house and I never went back. And that's why I say in this clip, 1 out of 1,000, because somewhere deep in my heart and my soul, sitting out there in 120-degree weather, being attacked by flies, waiting for my mother to come save me, with all my possessions in the world mostly just sitting around me, I decided that is bullshit. And I wasn't going to take it. First one. Leaving the home I've been in for 11 years and leaving without my family. It's hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. This is gonna be a hell of a journey. This is me now. Hurting. Huge in pain. Just wait. I'll rise up. I'll surprise everybody. And I'll come back stronger. I'll get my family back. No matter what. Number 1 out of 1,000. You're here. You're alive. Now get the fuck up. So leaving there was one of the hardest things I had ever done. I had lived at that house for years and years and years. 13 years or so. I don't exactly remember the dates. I'm not good at dates, so sorry. But I lived there for a long time. It's the home I knew. It's the home that I had put so much work into, so much time taking care of it. You know, that's where we saw that little boy grow up into the man he is today. And to leave that house that day after the 48 hours that came before that, and again, that's not what this channel's for or anything like that, but it was rough. I mean, it was a breakup, and it wasn't a fun one, it wasn't a pretty one, but it was a necessary one. Now, in hindsight, it was completely necessary. And when I arrived here, at my mother's house, it took me a while. It took me a while to get back my brain. You know, I was mad. I was angry. I wanted justice for what happened to me. I wanted revenge almost. I had so much hate flowing through my veins. I could feel it bubbling under the surface, you know, when people say you could feel your blood boiling. I could, and every second I thought about it, every second I thought, I will show them. I will show them that they were wrong to do what they did. I will show them that everyone was wrong about me. Because when I decide something, there is no dissuading me. There is no stopping me. I am an unstoppable, ruthless son of a bitch. So, I grabbed a waterproof speaker. I took my Oculus, my virtual reality headset, for anybody out there who doesn't know what that is. I took that. I took a wireless waterproof speaker, and I went out to the pool in the backyard every day for 2 hours. And I pumped my arms, I kicked my legs back and forth for 4 minutes each, because that's about how long a song would be. And I would do it for 2 hours straight. And then I would come in and I would put on my virtual reality headset and I would play Beat Saber. Shout out to Beat Saber, because you saved my life. If you're out there and there's somebody who works for them or something or whatever, thank them, because you saved my life. Literally. And another thing that really saved my life, even before I left that house and moved in here, DDPY. I have to give a shout out to DDPY, DDP Yoga. And I will shout it from the rooftops, on my Facebook, on everything. I signed up for it because I am a wrestling fan. I have been for a long time. Me and my brother used to watch it. Me and my dad used to watch it. Like being big, it's ingrained in my family's blood. We are from Massachusetts. It's a WWE territory. So, you know, wrestling fan, DDP, bang, DDP. Um, but he had a workout that I could do sitting in a chair. Perfect for me. I can't stand up. Man, when I tell you that shit works, if you are out there and your body hurts, even in the slightest, please give it a shot. Please. It will save you like it saved me. So I was doing a combination of the three. I was swimming, I was playing my Oculus as much as I could. I would play it. I'd probably play my Oculus for an hour. I used to have this tracker at the top. It would tell me the calories burned and how long. About 60 minutes until my arms felt like they were jello. 2 hours in the pool, arms and legs and chest. And then DDP yoga right over there in the chair on the big screen. Those three things got me up and moving, and I think I lost probably 100 pounds by myself. And my skin started to loosen up, and I was like, holy crap, I'm doing it. Like, I'm killing myself doing it, but I'm doing it. And it was all fueled by this rage, this vengeance that I wanted, this justice I wanted for all the wrongs that happened to me. And I think I needed that at first. I needed that fire to ignite something in me, that unfairness that was thrown at me, that I could turn into motivation to show everyone just who the hell I am, that I'm not a joke, that I'm not just someone to be pushed aside, and that when I have to, I can rise up and I can knock it out of the park. So my skin starts getting loose, and I will give my ex credit because she worked or works. I'm not sure. I don't talk to her. With insurance, dental at the time, and she got me United Healthcare Community Plan, and we spoke about it a bit before I moved out about possibly getting weight loss surgery, and it was just kind of a back afterthought. And she said that this insurance would be the best for me. So I trusted it. So thank you for that. If you're watching, or if anybody, is watching this that knows my ex, thank you. Because without that insurance, I wouldn't be where I am today. So with that insurance, I could make an appointment down the street with a doctor named Dr. Rogers. And I brought up all my ailments, my knees, my back, and this was still when I was a good 600 pounds or so, and my skin started to loosen up, and I was like, I'm just working out, but I'm still hitting that plateau. I'm still weighing myself, and I'm only losing like 10 pounds and here and there, and I have to like legit kill myself for it. It's hard. And he said, well, maybe we can get the skin removed, your excess skin that you're building up, and it would help you continue to work out and lose weight. And I said, that'd be great. If I could just get it removed, I could just start from square one, right? It turns out that's not exactly how it works. It turns out you have to go through many tests, many different doctors to actually get to that point, to this point where you are getting your skin removed. And being 4 years later now that I'm talking to you, alive, healthy, in a new relationship. Well, it's not new now. It's been a while, thank God. Um, and a brand new life. Um, would I do it all again? The the procedures and tests and everything? Yes. Yes, I would. Would I want to put myself through the anger, the deaths, the breakups, the bullshit? I don't know about that, but it's it's what makes us who we are today. I had to go through all of that to get to here. I had to be angry. I had to want vengeance and revenge because of all of the hard work that I put in. It was unfair what happened to me. But with that being said, I put myself into that position. Nobody ballooned my ass up to 700 pounds but me. No one decided to stop going outside but me. And I had to deal with those consequences, and I did. I dealt with them. I mean, it's in the rear view now, as you can see. But that's kind of like, that's my history lesson, you know? I started out as a big kid. I lived my life as a big individual until I got to the point where it got out of control and it cost me everything. So, where do we go from here? Well, now we're catching up. Now comes the part you all came for, because the intro's over. The first episode is in the bag. And now you know the history. Now you know where I'm coming from. You know what I looked like when I was younger, where I've been, and you know where I'm at now. So now we have to fill in that how we got here part. And that's where it gets good. Because it's been a journey. And I'm glad I'm here to talk to you all and help anyone I can, inspire anyone I can to do better, and to just live. Give life a shot. Because I thought I was at the end of mine. I thought I have no family. My father's gone. Uh, I'm not sure how my girlfriend can stand the sight of me anymore. I can't go play with my son. So what's the point? That is the point. To be with your family. To go out with your girlfriend on dates. To play and teach your kids. To be here for them. And I don't think I could put my kids through what I had to go through not having my father anymore. I needed him, and I need him still. And he is here with me. Regardless of your religious beliefs or whatever, we're not here for that either, but I believe what I believe. And I believe he's here with me sometimes. And now, on November 17th, 2025, a couple days removed from my latest surgery, I can probably finally say he's proud of me. And that feels good. But I'm not done yet. So, what's next? Well, next we have to talk about the process and all of the wonderful, wonderful doctors and surgeons and nurses that helped me get to where I am, to help me become, to steal a phrase, the biggest loser they've ever seen. Now, that episode won't take as long to come out as this one, hopefully. This one took a lot of pictures to find and a lot of things to sift through, brain wise and timeline wise and all that. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope now you know where I was coming from, and I hope you know that it wasn't easy to get to where I was. It was actually quite hard to get as big as I was, but it was also even more difficult to get rid of it. But once I did, it's the best thing I ever did. So, if you don't mind, please, please, please hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and that little bell. So then when episode 3 comes out, which is all the science and all of the procedures and everything like that, you won't miss that part. All the before and after pictures that are coming that are insane, and everything. And I hope you're here for it, and I hope you're still locked in with me. And I'm excited for what the future has, and I'm excited for what this channel can bring, and if I can bring any hope or cheer to anyone else out there, and if this video or these videos give you hope in any way or inspire you to maybe even follow in my footsteps, please tell me in the comments down below. Even if you've gotten weight loss surgery, even if you are overweight now and you're dealing with bullying or anything like that, this is a bully-free zone, and you can drop it in the comments and we can chat about it, because I think we've all been bullied and we've all had rough times, and sometimes we just need someone to talk to. So if you want, share your story down in the comments, like, subscribe. It really helps the channel. It ups it so that everyone else can see it. And I'll see you in the next one. I appreciate you being here. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Have a good one.